Hey everybody, Mike here, and if you can't tell by the sweat, it is another filthy hot day out here. Holy cow. It's been it's been wild. And this is the evening too. I thought it would be a little bit cooler. Anyways, as you probably gathered from the title, I'm here to finally discuss the much anticipated topic of what all happened with the recent host switches here on the channel. This is something that I've been a little bit withholding of when it comes to the information here. And I know that might have frustrated some people that I wasn't really talking much about it, but I had good reason. And if you were one of those people, then hopefully by the end of this, you'll understand those reasonings and everything that was going through my head at the time and maybe get the idea. So anyways, I'm sure you know Eric Hansen, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who was integral in starting this channel, as well as the TV show Epic Trails. He went on to go and do his own thing. And more power to him. He's doing really well, and we're all happy for him. In the meantime, a new host needed to be hired for both the television show, Epic Trails, and for this YouTube channel. And after a long hiring process, of which I was a part, they decided on hiring Stella. Stella was with the company Heliconia, the production company that does this, as well as the television show. She was with Heliconia for a few months, and then things didn't quite work out, and she departed the show and the YouTube channel. And then I was brought in, and a lot of people wanted to know, hey, what gives? What was going on there? What all happened? And I didn't want to talk about it because, honestly, I just don't like to... I don't really want to be the guy who comes in and starts explaining everybody else's mindsets, explaining situations from their perspectives. I didn't really feel like that was a good move, not just for me, but because that was something that I really didn't want to do. I know that things are complicated, and there's two sides to everything, if not more, and there's more than two sides to every person. So yeah, situations are really complicated, and it wasn't my place to come in here and tell you why people did what they did, and what people were thinking. So I just kept my big fat mouth shut, and here I am now finally talking about it. And that's only because Stella recently came out with a video on her YouTube channel that discusses everything that happened from her perspective, and that's kind of what I was waiting on. I didn't want to bring this up until she made a statement of some kind that explained things thoroughly from her perspective, which I will link down here. I suggest you give it a watch. It's a long video, and she talks about everything that happened in the first 10 or 15 minutes or so. It's a good watch. It's a good watch if you want to know more, because I certainly can't be as detailed as her. So yeah, basically what happened was Eric left of his own accord to go do his own thing. And then, you know what? Let me go back just a little bit. I want to explain something just so everybody kind of gets what's going on and how things work here. Let me pull the curtain back, show how the sausage is made. So Eric came to a production company called Heliconia. It's a Canadian production company. They focus on doing really cool outdoor stuff. He came to them and he said, hey, I want to do a TV show about the world's coolest trails. And they said, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So they teamed up to make this TV show, Epic Trails. It airs on PBS. Really cool show. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the host now. But yeah, really cool show. And they decided they were going to do a big YouTube channel in between shoots. So they'd go out on shoots and then they'd run this YouTube channel in between. And when he left, there was some space that needed to be filled. That's pretty, isn't it? I've never been back here. There was some space that needed to be filled on the YouTube channel and on the TV show as well. So that's where all this comes from. That's why they hired Stella. Kind of weird to be hired for a YouTube channel, right? But it's part of a greater project, the Epic Trails project. So Stella was hired. She's really, really cool. She's got a big online following that she grew pretty quickly. She does vlogs kind of in this style where she goes on these massive hikes. She did the entire Appalachian Trail by herself, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's just that's a crazy move. I love it. She really, really knows her stuff, and she's grown an amazing audience of really cool people, and she interacts with them regularly, and it's no wonder why they picked her to host the TV show and host the YouTube channel and all that. So totally get that, makes perfect sense. Once she came on though, and this is all paraphrasing her, doing my best to paraphrase, it got a little tricky because she was used to this, just kind of like walking and talking and showing off cool scenery, doing everything she's really, really good at. And when they ship her thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of expensive production equipment and say, okay, this is your job now, all of a sudden things kind of change. Now you're worried about frame rates, you're worried about audio, video syncing, you're worried about lens choice, you're worried about lighting, you're worried about microphones, stuff that she just hadn't really dealt with before. And I'm going to, of course, tell you this. I think that my opinion is pretty good here because I actually worked in production for a good while. And technically, I kind of still do. But pretty butterfly. Ooh. Anyways, yeah, so I work in production, and I know just how long it takes to get comfortable with this kind of field, especially when you're moving from this piece of equipment to that piece of equipment. There have been times where I felt so perfectly competent back when I lived in Los Angeles on these bigger shoots with high-paying clients, and you know, I just felt like king of the world. And then I'd go to another shoot for a game show or something, and they'd be like, hey, here's this camera that you've never used before. You got to run 2 of them at the same time. And all of a sudden it's like, I'm just like a rookie again. There's so much pressure. And of course there's the extra pressure of filling Eric's gigantic boots. Yeah, so that was a lot. Again, she says all this way better than I can, and I'm kind of going to stop here when it comes to explaining her mindset. Yeah, you can watch her video. I think she does a much better job than me at explaining all this, but end of the day, she wanted somebody who could come in and film for her and film with her and kind of do the lighting and microphones and all the complicated stuff that she wasn't quite super used to. And the company just couldn't swing it. And she said, okay, you know, this is really rough. I really want to have somebody to shoot this kind of stuff for me. And I guess lines were drawn, and the company just couldn't swing hiring another person for this role, because then it's kind of like doubling the expenses. She talks about that too. And she kind of knew it wasn't going to work out. I think everybody knew for a little while. So they shot a few episodes together and then parted ways. And that's where I come in, because I was involved in the first interview. And I was number 2, baby. Woo! Love it. Yeah, so I got picked and brought in to kind of take things from there, and that's where I am today. So here I am. I'm Mike. I guess I should introduce myself, shouldn't I? I feel like I've been on the channel for a little bit making videos, but y'all still don't know a darn thing about me. My name's Mike. I worked in production, told you a little bit about that. I think more importantly, I used to lead backpacking trips along the Appalachian Trail, where I'd take hikers who were just brand new out into the middle of nowhere and keep them alive for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Really, really fun stuff. We do multi-day trips along the Appalachian Trail. We did some kayak camping. We'd go down into swamps and up on top of mountains, and I got to see people who have never done so much as an extended day hike. And now after 4 or 5 days in the wilderness, they're so competent and they're so confident. And it's just so cool to see them go from being totally intimidated to just being proficient woods people. I love it. I love to see it. And that's something that I carried with me for a long time. And when I started working in production, I could kind of feel something was missing. Like, oh, hey, wouldn't it be great if I could tie this back into the outdoors somehow? Years and years went by, and I eventually said, okay, I really need to find a way to make this work. So I started volunteering for wildlife organizations, and I started doing a little bit of short documentary work for them, mainly for promotional material and that kind of thing. That got a little bit of attention over in Washington, D.C., where I almost moved for a really cool job where I was going to be working with national parks, doing a lot of video work. But that didn't work out. I found out it was going to be a lot more desk work than it would be shooting, so I kind of bid my time, and that's when all this came up. And then I actually reached out to Heliconia wanting to be a camera operator. I didn't know things were going to work out the way they did, but they eventually worked out. And so here I am, and I'm Mike. I like hiking. Shoot, what else do you want to know about me? I like weightlifting. I like my cat. I like archery. I like video games. I just finished Red Dead Redemption 2, like just a couple days ago. I'm still thinking about it. I bought a cowboy hat. I look like an idiot in it. I kind of regret that decision. Yeah, that's me. That's me in a nutshell. I live a simple life. I hike. I eat a lot. I work out. And that's pretty much all there is to me. Yeah. Be a simple kind of man. Skinnerd. All right, I guess that's the end of my video. Nice meeting everybody. Nice talking to y'all. And I hope to see you all again in the near future.